Hello, friends, and welcome to the latest edition of The Boot Room, the show where we look ahead to Ipswich Town's weekend game. And it's very much a tale of two towns at the moment. On the pitch, the players are dreadful, the performances are awful, but off the pitch, it's very, very exciting indeed. We're here to talk about what's going to happen on the pitch against Charlton this weekend. I am Mark Heath. Joining me this week is Andy Warren. And Hutchie, you come pretty much fresh from a fairly extraordinary press conference with Paul Cook this morning. We've done a separate video on that, so go and watch that. We're here to talk about the game, which kind of seems pretty irrelevant, really, in the grand scheme of things. What's happening at Ipswich Town at the moment. But what are your thoughts heading into this game against Charlton?
Feels that way, doesn't it? Paul Cook said that the AFC Wimbledon game on Tuesday night would define their season. They lost that game 3-0, and define it has. It feels like we're turning the page on any hope of making the playoffs now. 5 points is the gap going into this game at the weekend against a fellow playoff challenger. We were speaking before the Wimbledon game of even beyond that Charlton would be the must-win game out of them. Feels now that even a win isn't going to raise the optimism levels, but it seems to me to talk about it. But if there's any hope of this group of players getting into any kind of playoff skirmish whatsoever, they simply have to win this game. But I challenge anybody to feel confident that they're going to do that. It's going to be very interesting to see how this one plays out at the Valley against a Charlton side that have picked up quite nicely since Nigel Adkins took over.
Yeah, and it's always fairly tricky to predict a side, but even more so this week, given what Paul Cook said this morning, essentially that he doesn't think any of the players are good enough, pretty much. And it's going to be a very different side from the side that played at Wimbledon and played so badly at Wimbledon, Hutchie. So, unfortunately, I have to do this to you, and I hate to do it to you, but what kind of side do you think we're going to see at Charlton tomorrow? Is he going to go literally play the kids, or what do you think?
The kids are already being released. They've started to release the kids. Maybe a few might come into thinking, maybe someone like Liam Gibbs, I don't know. He said he doesn't trust his players and he doesn't like the team, is what he said in this morning's press conference, Paul Cook. But he's going to have to put 11 players out on that pitch some way, somehow. It sounds like Kane Vincent-Young is right in amongst it and could be involved again. I'm sure he doesn't like the fact that Vincent-Young's been injured for the vast majority of his time here, but I would hope that Paul Cook does at least like Kane Vincent-Young as a football player. I think he'll start. But beyond that, we know Alan Judge won't be playing. He's done for his time at Ipswich Town. If he had started this game at Charlton, that would have triggered an extra year. They don't want to do that. He's being released in the summer. So he's done. That leaves a sort of a vacancy in the side. And quite honestly, I don't know what kind of team. I know maybe what I would do given what's available and how Cook's feeling, but I guarantee the team that I'm about to give you will not be the side that starts the game at Charlton tomorrow, unless there's some kind of fluke of nature here.
Okay, well, just for fun then, give us what side you'd put out tomorrow, and we'll maybe talk a little bit more about it.
Okay, well, I don't think he fancies Di Cornell in goal at all. So Thomas Holy's going to continue. I think Kane Vincent-Young will start at right back, and I would also be looking to get Luke Wolfenden back in the centre of defence now. I think he'll play Wolfenden in there. Probably with Luke Chambers. Chambers, I think, can still reach the 400 game mark if he plays out this season. And Cooks this morning has kind of spoken about class and doing this with class now. And I would say the classy thing to do would be to help, whatever you think of Luke Chambers, to help the captain who served this club for so long reach that mark if this is to be the end of the road for him. So I'd go Chambers and Wolfenden in the middle. I'd absolutely be going with Miles Kenlock at left back over Stephen Ward. Flynn Downs is another I hope Paul Cook likes. So he's absolutely in. I'd partner him with Tristan Nydam in the centre of midfield, who looked decent off the bench against MK Dons at the weekend after so long out. This is in Cook's 4-2-3-1 system now. I think Cook needs to get back to doing what he likes, what he believes in, rather than searching for something, because that just simply hasn't worked. So the three, I would go probably for Teddy Bishop as a 10. I'd play Armando Dobra. The wingers are where I'm really struggling, because they just simply haven't had these wingers all season. So I'd go Dobra as one, and the other one I just can't pick one. So Keenan Bennett, I don't know, and James Norwood up front.
Yeah. Clearly,
Yeah.
we know the players are all playing for their futures, and a lot of them aren't going to be here. But are there any players that you really want to see given a real opportunity between now and the end of the season? Clearly, someone like Miles Kenlock there, you would hope that he will now be starting every game at left back, wouldn't you?
There's no need for Stephen Ward to be playing games now. Great professional, has added things off the pitch for Ipswich this season, but on it, it's hard to find a reason for him to be playing now. Miles Kenlock, whatever you think of him, is under contract, so you play him, don't you? I would think. Kind of with the younger players, it's a shame Brett McGavin's not available. He was on loan up in Scotland and can't play. He is back at Ipswich, but can't play due to registration reasons. So it's a shame he can't be involved. Nydam's probably the one out of those that I would really like to see. Now, he is out of contract as well. And I'd really hope that regardless of how he plays in these games, that Ipswich would give him another year, because we've seen what he can do. He's lost so much time to injury. So he's the one, and probably Dobra as well, another young player under contract. Not sure what Cook really thinks of him. Give him a go. Let him try and show what he can do, because those wide areas have just been really poor for Ipswich this season. That's where they've fallen down. I feel like we've said this 100 times, but that's been the real disappointment to me, is where this team has fallen down, is in those positions. So give Dobra a go.
Okay, prediction time, Hotchie. Obviously hard every week to make a prediction, especially hard. We don't really know what sort of team's going to be out at Charlton tomorrow. But this surely it is where the promotion dream dies, doesn't it? The playoff dream ends at Charlton. I can't see Town winning this game, given how they played on Tuesday, given what Cook has said. You'd like to see a reaction, but I just don't know where these players' minds are going to be going into this game. I'm going to say Charlton are going to win this 2-0. What about you?
That's what I've got written down as well. Is it beyond seeing a reaction now? They've had ample opportunity to show reactions. Is this where they pop up and win 1-0? Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't see it. The players are surely on the floor. How Paul Cook lifts a team and gets them going for this, I don't know. So yeah, I'll go 2-0 as well.
And it wouldn't be a bad thing, would it, if the playoffs were gone and then we can sort of get the rest of the games out of the way. He can play around with a few players he's not seen that much of, and go into the summer with some real positivity, where it's clearly going to be a very exciting and challenging summer as well, a summer of change. But kind of just hanging on the edge of those playoffs is just annoying at the moment, isn't it?
But they could not play these final 5 games after this, and that would be fine if they're out of playoff contention, because I think decisions may have been made on a lot of them. So I'm not sure there's an awful lot for anybody to play for, quite frankly. So it's going to be fascinating to see how these next 6 games do play out, because it could be really quite bizarre in that time, I think. And then, as you say, we'll get to the summer, and there's going to be a very, very busy door at Playford Road of players coming in and out of it. So, yeah, we will see.
Indeed. There you go then. So we're both predicting a defeat at Charlton, the end of Ipswich Town's very slight, lingering playoff hopes, we reckon. And then on to what Paul Cook described as a summer of pain. Demolition Man with the squad. We shall see. Follow it all with us, of course. And we'll speak to you again next time.